Hello my sexy people, it's your boy Vitaly and welcome back to vitalyspace. It is currently 7 o'clock in the morning, so if I look a little puffy or brain dead, that's why. Legends, as you can see, I keep experimenting with this channel, and this video is one of those experiments. Usually I do this type of content on my personal channel, Vitaly for the record, but today I was like, I need to expand my horizons, and here we are. Growing up online, I remember all the different YouTubers making this type of content, sharing their experiences with other YouTubers, mostly the bad ones. But back home in Russia, I did not have any social life, let alone many stories with public figures. But now that I've been in Los Angeles for over 5 years, oh boy, do I have a lot of stuff to tell you about. Finally, it's my turn to monetize all of my traumas. In this video today, I'm gonna tell you about 3 unpleasant encounters that I've had with American YouTubers. So you better buckle up, legend, you're definitely not ready for this one, only on vitalyspace. But before I get started, I do wanna mention that in this video I'm not gonna be name dropping any of those people, just because I don't want anybody to go and attack them. That is definitely not the purpose of today's video. And the main purpose is to channel my 2016 inner YouTuber and once again monetize all of my past traumas. I even have a list of all the people that I want to talk about, and let me tell you something. The burn book from the Mean Girls franchise has been real quiet since this list has appeared. And one last thing, legends, please like this video, cause YouTube kind of hates when I'm experimenting with new formats. So let's destroy the algorithm, shall we? But anyways, the first encounter that I want to tell you about involves this guy that I've been watching back home in Russia in 2017-2016. His channel was popping at the time, and in 2016 he was on top of the world. How do I give you a hint about who he is without being super transparent about it? Okay, let's try. This guy, this person used to make DIY videos, those stupid DIY videos. Remember when that was a trend back in the day? He was one of those people, and nowadays his channel is not active anymore. But anyways, let's move on with the story. I met this guy in 2020, 4 years after his prime time, let's just say that. It was my first year in Los Angeles, and let me tell you something, I was living life. I was having so much fun, I was a party animal and I would go out frequently. Sometimes I do miss the old me. How did I turn into this? I'm kidding, but anyways. And I met this guy at one of those parties. I believe it was some sort of a house party or... I do not remember, guys. Oh no, I do remember. It was at this brand party at Chateau Marmont. I went there with a few of my friends, and let me tell you one thing. Usually I am the type of person, if I go party, if I go hang out, I go party. And I try to stay until the party is officially over. Depends on the mood, obviously. And that night was no exception. I was going there with an intention to have the best night of my life. But my friends had some different opinions about it. So we arrived, it was a good party, and I believe an hour later, one of my friends was like, I wanna go home, the party is so boring, I don't feel good, maybe we should go and continue partying at my place. And obviously, we came there together and we should live together too. And I was like, okay, fine, even though I don't wanna go home yet, but at least we came here and checked out the vibe. And just like that, we started moving forward the exit to leave the party, and that was when I see this guy. Or should I say he saw me first. He was standing in a corner with some of his friends next to the entrance. So as I was walking out, I randomly looked at him, and at that moment he was already looking at me. So we made an eye contact with him, you know, that stare in the eyes, into my soul, for like 2 seconds or something. And I immediately recognized him, obviously, cause... once again, I was watching his videos. So as I was walking out of that love that the party was at, he approached me from behind. He tapped me on my shoulder and was like, oh, what's up? Are you leaving already? How come I didn't see you at this party? My name is this and that, by the way. What is your name? And at that moment I was like, I didn't know how to act because I knew him from YouTube, but at the time I didn't want to come across as some fan or a creep or something like that. So I played it cool, which is exactly what you gotta do in this case scenario. The number one rule that you gotta follow in Los Angeles: never ever ever make it seem like you know somebody.
God forbid, Francine.
So yeah, we had a little small talk. He was like, I wish I noticed you earlier at the party so we could properly introduce ourselves to each other, but you wanna exchange Instagrams? I followed him, he followed me back, and just like that I left the the party. Now, one thing that I do want to explain here is he approached me because he was interested in me as a guy. I could immediately feel it by the energy we had during the small talk and all that other stuff. All those non-verbal signs, I was clocking it right away. And he was so drunk, by the way. But anyways, let's fast forward to the following day, July 25th, 2020. The next morning he DM'd me on my Instagram and he was like, "It was so nice meeting you last night." And then he asked me if I wanted to exchange numbers because apparently he didn't have his notifications turned on Instagram. And then he texted me on iMessage, and that is where the receipts come into the picture. 1:50 p.m. he texted me, "Yo, it's blank, his name." And I go, "Hey, I'm hungover, I was so effing drunk." Which he was. I could tell, haha. But at least you had fun. That's so embarrassing, sorry, hahaha. I decided not to reply to this message and I just hearted it. I liked it, long story short. I was probably hungover myself. And then I decided to text him the next day, on July 26th. The fateful day, as it later turned out. "What's up, king?" I'm so embarrassed reading my own messages, for some reason. Why would I communicate this way? "What's up, king?" Do you remember the scary movie, part 1?
Yo. What's up?
That's what I thought it sounded like when I was typing that message, probably. And he goes, "I'm out golfing, what about you?" Golfing. This is the whitest message I've ever received. I did not respond right away and then he double texted me, "Wanna hang out when I'm done?" And I go, "Yeah, sure. What do you wanna do?" Now guys, when I was asking him this message, I was like, "Please don't tell me to come over, don't tell me to come over, not come over, not come over." Cause at the time I just wanted to be friends with him. I was fairly new in Los Angeles and I did not have any YouTube friends, American YouTube friends, and I was like, that's a great connection, that's a great chance to expand my social circle. And if you mess around with somebody, there is two options what's gonna happen. You either ruin your relationship or you ruin it. Which leads us to the number 2 rule that you gotta follow. Don't ever mess around with somebody who you planning to have any sort of human relationships afterwards. And he was definitely one of those people at the moment. Plus, I was also going through a breakup at the moment, which was fairly fresh. But anyways, on my question, what you wanna do, he responded, "Do you wanna come over, order food, and watch a movie?" Which is a recipe for a disaster. Well, not really. I don't want to give you guys this impression that I'm some sort of a saint or afraid of hookups, but this situation was definitely not the right position to do something like that. So when he texted that, I was like, ugh. And I go, "Don't you want to go out somewhere?" Because I wanted to meet up at the neutral territory at first. He goes, "Like where?" I immediately could tell that he was not a fan of this idea. And I was like, "Let's go grab food somewhere. What is your favorite kind of food?" Look at you, Mr. Vitaly, you were offering some great ideas. I eat anything honestly, lol, where do you like? So yeah, he was definitely not a fan of this idea, as we can tell. And I believe I was not responding for like 10 minutes or something, cause I wanted to realize what I wanted to do. And then he texted again, "Well, let me know if you wanna come." And I go, "Sure." Legends, just notice how quickly I changed my entire perspective. Mr. Vitaly was playing no games. He switched his entire pattern of thinking, just like that, and agreed to come over to f***. But in my defense, at that moment I was living with this roommate of mine, my former friend. But anyways, he was kind of helping me to navigate this entire situation. He would give me some advice on what to respond and stuff like that. And he was like, "Just go. Maybe you're not even gonna do something out of control. Who knows? Just go." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. I will go, just out of the curiosity." So he goes, "I'm just chilling right now." He sent me his address and then was like, "You have alcohol?" And that was the moment when I realized this situation is definitely gonna escalate into something 18 plus, PG-13. And I go, "Yeah, I'll bring some." Which is such a great answer from the person who wanted to hang out on a neutral territory 10 minutes earlier. Long story short, I got ready and in 30 minutes I was on my way to his place in my Uber. And Thankfully, gladly, he was my neighbor. While I was on my way, I would text him some update with my ETA, but for some reason he was not responding to me, which made me a little bit nervous, but not so much, cause I thought maybe he was getting ready, he was preparing to see this Russian legend that was about to come. But even when I arrived to his place, he was still silent. So I decided to call him. Nothing. I texted him a few more times, nothing. And then in probably 10 minutes, when I was already about to leave, he responded, "Oh shit, my bad. Where you at?" And I was like, outside bro, just come meet me. Come get me at this point. He comes out sleepy AF and goes, "I'm so sorry, I wanted to take a little nap until you were here, but then I forgot to turn on my alarm clock, so I'm sorry." Which once again, stuff happens, we're all human, and it was around 10 o'clock. 10 p.m, so obviously he wanted to sleep. So I walk in his house, and let me tell you something, I saw that exact same house that I would see in his YouTube videos when I was watching him. And at that moment there was such a strange feeling for me, cause for years beforehand I was back home in Russia obsessing over his videos, and now I'm in that same apartment, you know, speaking English to him and planning to do some things. But anyways guys, now picture this, I walk in with a bottle of alcohol, I put it on his kitchen counter, and we go forward to his living room. We sit down on his couch and the conversation begins. So that's his couch, right? I'm sitting here, he's sitting on the other side of the couch, and between us there was his dog laying down chilling. And the moment we started talking, I immediately felt not a very good energy. You know, sometimes you can just feel that it's not your people, in terms of chemistry, vibes and overall conversation. And let me explain why. So first of all, he was still super sleepy. He looked like he was about to pass out at any given moment. He would talk to me like this. He was under his blanket like this, laying on his couch and being like, "Well, tell me, so what do you do? YouTube, you told me, right? Wait, but does YouTube pay normally to its creators? Cause the last time I checked, all the YouTubers went broke, and that's why I decided to transform into, I believe that was OnlyFans, he told me." But anyways, I immediately felt that he was looking down on me for some reason, because I was doing YouTube, which was kind of ironic to hear from a fellow YouTuber, you know? No, seriously dude, if your channel stopped working out for you and you are experiencing some sort of downfall, it does not mean that you have the right to depreciate all those other people that do the same thing and love it. Why would you project your disappointments on me? But once again, in 2020, he was in the process of transferring into the world of OF, and he was not as active on YouTube anymore, as he explained. And at that time, I was still doing Russian-speaking YouTube. Yes, in case if you didn't know, I used to have a Russian YouTube career. I felt so freaking uncomfortable, as if I had to justify myself why I was doing YouTube. You know, that was so weird. He goes, "Well, how much we talking? Cause I know all the prices. If American YouTube doesn't pay that much anymore, I'm afraid to think how much Russian YouTube pays you." Which, by the way, he was so right, but still, that arrogant tone that he had spoke volumes to me. And that was the moment when he decided to start throwing all of those big names at me, which I found so cringy. I mean, maybe he wanted to impress me with that, he wanted to brag how cool he was and how many popular people he knows, but he only came across as a very tacky person to me. Do you know Trisha Paytas? Oh yeah, that's my girl. What about Jeffree Star? Oh yeah, I talked to him the other day. Oh, Shane Dawson? No, oh, no, you don't know him personally. That's kind of sucks, you know, but he's a great guy, yeah. And I mean, great for him that he had all of those connections, he knew all of those people, but if you really want to impress somebody, there is nothing any sexier than humbleness. If you are a successful person and being so humble about it and down to earth, trust me, you're not even gonna have to say a single word. Your entire energy is gonna speak for you and even louder than words. But anyways, that's not even the worst of the worst that could possibly happen. The last nail in a coffin was when he told me the following. By the way, I also have a Russian friend. His name is Alexander, but at least he's rich and he speaks proper English, unlike you. To say that I was taken aback and appalled and shocked and triggered at the same time would be an understatement of the century. I really did not expect that he was this much of C-U-N-T. Why would you say something like that to a person? Plus, he knew exactly that I just came to a new country, and I mean, he was right, my English was not that good, but why would you say something like that to somebody? That is totally uncalled for and is so tone deaf. On which I told him, wow, that's not a very nice thing to say, you know it? And he goes, oh god, you're being so sensitive. with this fucking face. But once again, I get it, he's a privileged POS and he's never had a reality check in his life before. And with that being said, after that encounter, I really needed a drink. So I was like, still shocked. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and make myself a drink. Do you want to? He goes, yeah, I don't wanna get up. Go and make us some drinks. So I go to his kitchen, making our drinks, still shocked about this entire energy that was happening in that living room. And on the back of my mind I was thinking, hell no, hell the F not. I definitely don't want to do anything with this person. And I was thinking about, you know, my ways to leave. And if only I knew that the problem would get solved by itself. Picture this, I'm coming back with 2 glasses of drinks and I see that he fell asleep. Yes, the mother effer passed out. While I was away making drinks for a minute. That was the picture that I saw. Totally asleep. I look at him, I look at his dog that was laying next to him. His dog is looking at me cause she knows that something so awkward is happening. And I'm like, well, I guess the problem solved itself. I take a few sips of my drink cause I really needed some. I turn around, go back to his kitchen, put the drinks on the counter and leave. That entire meeting was such a fever dream and, to be honest, I just don't get it. Why would you invite somebody over if you wanna sleep? First of all, you should have told me not to come cause it's obviously been a very long day for you, so maybe we should have rescheduled. But I feel like it would not help cause even if we did reschedule it, I would still find out that he was a POS. The moral of the story is, sometimes human rejection is God's protection. You thought the story was over? Nope. 3 months later, I see him again at a different party. Guys, get ready for it. He comes up to me, blacked out AF, and goes, "You're so handsome. I have a cute loft that I own here in North Hollywood. You wanna come over to mine? What's your name?" Guys, that mother effer did not recognize me. If you thought that the story could not get any worse, it just did. But I also had a different haircut. The second time I saw him, I believe it was a buzz cut, so maybe that's why he did not recognize me. Or maybe his brain was so scrambled from all the drugs he's taken, who knows. So yeah, I was like, no thanks, I'm good. I legit thought that he was kidding, you know, but nope. Leave a like if you wanna see part 2, cause I have way more of those stories, unfortunately. Unlike the first guy, this next person that I wanna talk about was way more friendlier, but the outcome of that situation was very interesting, to say the least. This creator is also a guy, and if I'm gonna tell you the type of content that he used to make, you're gonna realize who that is right away, so I'm gonna be super careful about it. Cause once again, I don't want anyone to get attacked, you know. But let's just say, this YouTuber has been around for a very long time, since the late 2000s to be exact. So I met him also in 2020 through Instagram. I'm telling you, I was living life back in the day. I was so excited to make all of those connections. Okay, so I met him on Instagram, as I said, and I believe I liked one of his pictures or something. He followed me back and slid into my DMs first. He was like, nice to meet you, where did you find me, and all that small talk situation. And eventually we also transitioned into the world of iMessage. But this time I was the one who texted. I go, hey, it's Vitaly. May 7th, by the way. He goes, bonjour. Oh wait, that's French. I don't know Russian. And I go, привет, which is hello in Russian. That sounds dirty. I don't even know how to say your name properly. On which I sent him my voice note, pronouncing my name. And that was not long until we decided to meet up in person that same week. Once again, I was pretty new in LA and he was like, I wanna show you around, cause I've been in Los Angeles for decades at this point, and I have a lot of different stories, so you wanna go on tour with me? I will pick you up and we will drive around around the city, which at the moment felt like a great idea, and to be honest even now. I'm such a sucker when it comes to any kinds of adventures. By the way, one thing you gotta know about the 2020 Vitaly, I was such a stalker back in the day. I was so obsessed with anything celebrity related, and this guy did not judge me for that. In fact, he was the same way, and that's why I felt immediately safe with him. But anyways, on one fateful day, let me see the exact date. May 8th. So the next day after we started talking, he picks me up and I lived in Hollywood at the time. And honestly, we had such a great time, I have nothing bad to say about it. We drove all the way to the Venice Beach, then on the way back we stopped in Brentwood, and then we had a long tour around Hollywood. Not gonna lie, I had so much fun, and that guy seemed so friendly. He's such a great tour guide, by the way. I remember when we were passing by this apartment complex on Hollywood Boulevard, and he was like, Kat Von D was my next door neighbor, she was such a good friend of mine. And I was like, oh my god, this is so 2000s, he speaks my language, wow. Which back in the day, it was so impressive for me. Not Kat Von D, the 2000s vibe in general. But anyways, one more thing that I do wanna mention. They're picking up the trash. We love LA. But anyways, one more thing that I do wanna mention is that in that car we only had friendly vibes. You know, nothing romantic, no touchy feelings, no touchy vibes, just straight up fun time with fun friends. Oh, by the way, I remember when he dropped me off at my place, I was like, you wanna come in at least to have some tea? Because once again, we've been in the car for 4 hours, so I wanted to make sure that he didn't go home exhausted, you know? He didn't want to come in, and just like that, we went our separate ways for that night. So when I got home, let's see, it was 11:26 p.m. I go, thank you for tonight, it was so cool. Hope you enjoyed my creepy stalker company. And he goes, sorry, just got back. I had fun. It's so nice to be around other YouTubers. I feel like I've been so distant from everyone. Your LA story is already so crazy. Jealous. Cannot believe you're gonna sleep with... Oh no, this one I'm not gonna read out loud. Now legends, at that time I was also talking to this celebrity man. I'm telling you guys, my life was laughing. I'm not gonna sleep with him. We were just talking a couple of times and that's it, which was true by the way. But he's a great guy though, and it's not like I was bragging to him about it. He just asked me at one point, have I had any celebrity encounters, and I just told him that I've been talking to this guy on Instagram. Now, I do wanna say here that even though in the car, when we saw each other initially, we only had friendly vibes, I feel like all the vibes began escalating over text messages to something really flirty, mainly from his side. Even though he would tell me, I'm not interested in you, don't think that way, I'm still getting over my former relationship. But at the same time, he was the one who would bring up all the sexual topics, all the flirty jokes, and let's be honest, if you feel some sort of energy, you feel it for a reason. Some sort of more than friends energy. Obviously. But anyways, within a span of a few days, he started sending me all of those flirty messages, but in Russian. So he would translate it in a Google Translator and send it back to me, probably assuming that it would win me over or something. And not gonna lie, back in the day I really liked when guys did that because they were putting in a little more effort just to text me, you know? So yeah, he would send me stuff like, you're always in my thoughts, in Russian. I'm not gonna live without your love. Also in Russian. And as I've said, he also started mentioning all of those wedding jokes and marriage jokes. For example, so should we cancel the wedding if you're moving? Then at some point I sent him this kissing emoji and he goes, quit trying to have sex with me. And I go, you're so dumb. Never. I believe at this moment he was projecting his own desires onto me. Then at some point we started talking about the dream partners that we would like to have. And he goes, my dream man is a New Yorker. They're just so real. People here are so fake. And then he goes, okay, you get rich, I'll get rich with stocks, and we can buy a house on the East Coast. So, you see the kind of game he was playing, right? He would make all those jokes, but at the same time he would be like, I'm not interested in you, you're not my type. And I'm like, right. Now, another really strange thing that I want to mention about this entire conversation is that this guy had a very questionable joke going on. For some reason, at least once a day, guys, once a day, he would ask me the following question. Are you a Russian prostitute? Just be honest with me, are you Russian escort? No, you gotta be an escort, you gotta be right? Vitaly, you're not my type, but if you were, I would have definitely asked how much your rate was. which I found so... It's not that I'm sensitive, or it's not like I'm offended by everything somebody tells me, but at that point that joke seemed really weird and uncalled for. Dude, you've known me for 3 days only. It's not the right time to make this type of jokes. But anyways, usually I would let it slide, cause once again, we're all different, and we'll have our different sense of humor, that's for sure. So yeah, I let it slide for the first time, I let it slide for the second time, for the third time, until he sends me this. Does this thumbnail make me look fat? And he attached this thumbnail that he just made of 2 of us with the following text all over it. Renting a Russian food. Do you like this type of humor? Cause I don't really. Like, let's be honest, it's so weird. But once again, he made it seem as a joke, but to me, the joke is when 2 people laugh about it, not just one, you know? And then I believe we went silent on each other for like a week or 10 days or something, and he comes back out of nowhere. Mr. Strange sense of humor coming back in my life. And he goes, "What's up? I had to deal with my main base, forgot about my side house. What are you doing for Memorial Day?" And I respond, "Nothing actually, what about you? We have 2 friends over, might go grab some vegan burgers, you should come over." And I accepted his invite, and we planned on seeing each other on Memorial Day. But I didn't want to go all the way there by myself. And I was like, "Can I bring one of my friends with me?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure, not a problem, bring whoever. So excited to see you." And my friend also wanted to go, cause once again we didn't have any company, and I wanted to bring him as my security. Not blanket, but like just to feel more secure and comfortable. But then, 2 days beforehand, my friend decided to bail on me, cause one of his friends invited him to celebrate Memorial Day with them in their company. And my friend was like, "I'm sorry, but I cannot make it cause I got invited by my friends." And to be honest, it makes sense. Why would you go to some stranger's place if you can celebrate with your friends? I get it. But at the same time, I got myself into this weird position because I definitely did not want to go by myself. I was such a kid 4 years ago, to be honest. And after a long time of consideration, I decided to tell this guy that I'm not gonna come, but I was very respectful about it. I was like, "Listen, I'm so thankful that you invited me over. I do not take it for granted, but unfortunately I cannot make it," on which I received a pretty inadequate reaction. "You are the flakiest person that I've ever met in my entire life. I'm not a fan of any games, so good luck with your life." And then he blocked me. He blocked me on Instagram, he blocked me on Twitter, blocked my number, without even giving me a chance to respond to him. When I responded, in just a minute, my message turned green. Which means that this contact blocked you. And this entire situation made me really get into my head. Cause on one hand, I totally get it. It really is kind of disrespectful to at first say that I'm gonna come and then cancel. But at the same time, I was so respectful about it. I cancelled a day or 2 beforehand. And plus, I was like, maybe you wanna meet any other day. You can come over tomorrow to my place, or we can go somewhere else, we can go out. And this person didn't even give me a chance to respond to his message, to hear what I have to say. I feel like that was also kind of uncalled for. We're all adults. We live in such a crazy city as Los Angeles. You know, plans can change all the time. And plus, it's not like I would bail on him all the freaking time. It was the first time ever, and you couldn't give me, not a benefit of a doubt, but how do I say it? You get it, legends. And to be honest, I need your opinion on this entire situation. What do you guys think? Am I really in the wrong? And yeah, I've never talked to this guy ever since. But once again, human's rejection is God's protection. Who knows how all of this would have turned out? But anyways, yeah. This story started out so good, but the end of it really ruined all of it, unfortunately. And last but not least, now this story is not that much big of a deal, but I still decided to include it. I feel like you're gonna realize who he is, so I'm gonna stay extremely careful. So I met this person in 2022. There was this group of people that I was hanging out with back in the day. And one day we decided to go out to the clubs, to the bars. But beforehand we would usually get together and pregame, you know how it is. So we can go out all lit and iconic. And at one of those pregames I met this YouTuber that I've never met before. I don't think I was able to really feel his energy and what he's all about, just because we didn't have time to get to know each other that much. But there was this one situation that I thought was really weird. As I was talking to this guy, I was like, "So what kind of videos do you do?" A little get to know me moment. And he was like, "Can you give me your phone? I will show you." And I was like, yeah, sure. So he grabs my phone and he started doing something on my phone. But I could not see what he was doing because I could only see the YouTube logo. And I was like, okay, maybe he's just subscribing to himself, who knows. And after approximately 30 seconds, he gives me my phone back. And obviously I forget about the situation until the next morning. The next morning when I woke up, I see this notification on my phone that was saying that this one YouTuber that I don't even know, by the way, apparently liked my comment that I left him. And I was like, wait, but I don't even know this person, let alone left any comments, you know? So I opened this notification and I see, attention, my own comment from 10 hours ago that said the following: hey, I found you from this guy. And his name. That YouTuber that I met last night. I'm so happy I found you. His promotion really works. Guys, you were able to piece 2 and 2 together, right? That creator who took my phone left a comment from my name to somebody who paid him for promotion. And I feel like it was not working that well, and that's why he decided to make it seem like it worked. You know? And even though it's such a small thing, I thought it was really shady, cause why would you comment on somebody's video from my name and not even tell me about it? Dude, you could have just asked me, I would have left that comment, no problem, I don't care. It's such a small thing once again. But the fact that you did it in complete silence, that is what's so cringy about this entire situation. Once again, I was not aware about his entire scheme until the next morning, to make it clear. Let's go back to that fateful night. Well, not fateful, it was actually a great night. Once we finished pre-gaming, we all started heading out to the bars, to the clubs. And since there was like 15 people of us, we all went in different, separate Ubers. And I happened to be in the same Uber as that guy. Now legends, picture this. We're sitting on the backseat on our way to the bars, and this guy opens up his phone, leans up to me like this, and goes to his Grindr app. Do I even have to explain what is Grindr? In case if you don't know, you're such a pure soul. It's a gay hookup app. Now you know. So he goes on there next to me and starts scrolling all of the guys that's on there. So Vitaly, who should we choose? You wanna choose this one, or you wanna choose that one, or maybe this one, so we can share them together. Share them. Guys! And then he added, but I only wanna find some Ukrainian or Russian guys, cause I'm super into Eastern European people. And I'm like, okay, now this is super suspicious. Cause he knows that I'm Russian. Well, first of all, it's not like we're gonna go and share somebody when we're literally hanging out with our friends and they're waiting for us at the bars already. Why would we do something like that? It's not like I'm desperately horny or anything. And another thing that was kinda weird is that he mentioned that he was into Russian and Eastern European people when we were just talking about it an hour ago. That I'm Russian, I mean. My explanation for all of it probably would be, maybe he thought that I was gonna say, well, if you like Eastern European, you found me. Why would you need to find somebody else? I'm already here, next to you. Let's go back to my place. Do you guys think it makes any sense? Or maybe I just need to get over myself? Which is probably the case. But once again, if you feel something, you feel it for a reason. You gotta always listen to your senses, first and foremost. But yeah, those YouTube guys are living their best lives, let me tell you. Sometimes I even feel like I live on a different planet. But anyways, my legends, I feel like that's gonna be it for today's video. If you made it this far, leave a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to join vitalyspace community by clicking the white subscribe button down below. Follow me on Instagram at Vitaly for the record. Subscribe to my personal channel, Vitaly for the record as well. And remember, your ex is effing toxic. The best way to make them bitter is to become successful. Bye, legends!